Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for class 5th. This is our 10th class wherein we will be doing the topic of adverbs. So we will be understanding in which scenarios adverbs are used, what are the various categories. Alright, so let's just jump right into it.
The first question that comes to our mind is, what exactly are adverbs? किसी भी टॉपिक को करने से पहले उसका मीनिंग समझ लेना बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। और जैसे कि हम करते आए हैं, हम इसके थोड़े से एग्जाम्पल्स लेंगे और उन एग्जाम्पल्स में से ही हम इसका मीनिंग डिराइव करेंगे। ऑलराइट, एग्जाम्पल्स हम इसलिए लेते हैं ताकि एग्जाम्पल से आसानी से समझ आ पाए। आपको या अगर मैं आपको सिर्फ मीनिंग बता दूंगी तो आपको मीनिंग तो याद करना नहीं है, क्योंकि है उसमें ये तो नहीं आएगा ना कि व्हाट आर एडवर्ब्स। उसमें ये आएगा कि जैसे चूज द एडवर्ब या फिर इसमें से आप करेक्ट एडवर्ब ऑप्शंस में से चूज करिए। तो एडवर्ब्स के प्रैक्टिकल क्वेश्चंस आएंगे। ये तो नहीं पूछेगा आपसे कोई कि क्या है होते हैं एडवर्ब्स, बट आपको आपको उसके क्वेश्चंस का आंसर देने के लिए आपको पता होना चाहिए कि एडवर्ब्स होते क्या हैं। तो इसीलिए हम ये भी समझेंगे कि एडवर्ब्स क्या होते हैं, बट थ्रू आवर एग्जाम्पल्स। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। Now you see, there's a sentence over here. इस सेंटेंस को हम पढ़ें तो it says, she looked at her gift happily. अपने गिफ्ट को कैसे देख रही थी? The girl got a gift and she was looking at her gift happily. How was she looking at the gift? Happily. She was happy to see the gift. How did she feel? She was happy and she was looking at the gift happily. Alright? Remember this. She looked at a gift happily. कैसे देख रही थी? How? We are answering the question how here. Okay? Here. Her father rarely surprised her like this. In this sentence, which question is being answered? How often? Means how often did her father surprise her like this? Rarely. So what is the answer here? Rarely. What was the question? How often? The question being answered in the form of rarely. Saying rarely her father surprised her like this. And the question is, here the sentence is, there were balloons everywhere. Okay? So which question is this sentence answering now? Where? Where were the balloons? Balloons were everywhere. So the first one answered how, the second one answered how often, the third one is answering where. Now next, this sentence is, her father got her a gift today. So this sentence is answering the question when. You see, her father got her a gift today. When did he get her a gift? Today. The question being answered is today. The fourth point is when, and her father got her a gift today. There are different kinds of questions being answered in each sentence. Now here you see, she was completely surprised by the gift. Here the question being answered is the fifth question, which is to what extent. मतलब वो किस लिमिट तक, किस हद तक सरप्राइज थी. She was completely, वो एकदम सबसे ज़्यादा, she was completely surprised by the gift. Alright? So completely. To what extent? Completely. Okay? Now from all this Let's understand what adverbs are. Adverbs जो होते हैं, they describe a verb, adjective or another adverb and answer these 5 questions. The questions जिनके हमने examples लिए थे, how often, to what extent, when and where. So these questions are answered by the words called adverbs. And what do they describe? They describe any verb or adjective or another adverb. इसको हम better understand करेंगे next slide पे. तो अब हम सारे examples लेंगे और समझेंगे तो आपको better समझ आएगा. The first sentence was, she looked at her gift happily. Then the next one said, her father rarely surprised her like this. Third one was, there were balloons everywhere. Then her father got her a gift today. The last one said she was completely surprised by the gift. Now, you see the first question. The first sentence is answering the question how. And आप identify करो कि इसमें से कौन सा word है जो ये question answer कर रहा है. Happily. So what is the adverb here? Happily. Adverb की हमने definition क्या पढ़ी है? Adverbs are the words which describe a verb, adjective, another adverb and answer any of these questions. How, to what extent, etc. So इसमें कौन सा word answer कर रहा है ये question? Happily. And happily क्या describe कर रहा है? Happily is describing the girl because she was looking at the gift happily. Okay? Now next, the second sentence, her father rarely surprised her like this. Here, the question being answered is how often. How often is being answered by which word? Rarely. Okay. So it is the adverb. Because adverbs we know that they answer any of these following questions of how often, when, where, etc. Okay. The third question is where. So in the third sentence, where का जवाब कौन सा word दे रहा है? Everywhere. Where were the balloons? The balloons were everywhere. Okay, so the adverb here is everywhere. The next question being answered is of when. Now when. Her father got her a gift today. When did her father get her a gift? Today. Alright. So the adverb here is today. Because adverbs क्या होते हैं? जो describe करते हैं किसी noun, adverb या adjective को और answer करते हैं questions. तो यहाँ पे आंसर किया है when ने. Alright. Now the last question being answered is to what extent. To what extent was the girl surprised? She was completely surprised. She was completely surprised by the gift. Okay. So these are the 5 adverbs. These are the 5 questions जो adverbs answer करते हैं. How का हमें मिला है happily से. How was the girl looking at the gift? Happily. How often did her father surprise her like this? He rarely surprised her like this. And where were the balloons? They were everywhere. When did the father get her a gift? Today. And to what extent was she surprised? She was completely surprised. Okay, so these are the 5 examples of adverbs. Now we will see each category of adverbs and understand through examples. Let's start. So the first type of adverbs that we are going to do are the ones that answer the questions of when. These are the adverbs which tell us about when. Okay, so we will see a few examples like after, already, before, early, now. These are the few examples. We will see them in sentences. Okay, in sentences. She will visit the hospital tomorrow. So, which question is being answered here? When? When will she visit the hospital? Tomorrow. And which word is answering the question? Tomorrow. So, tomorrow becomes the adverb. Next, the results were announced yesterday. Now, when is being answered by which word? Yesterday. So, adverb here is what? Yesterday. Okay, this is the first category of questions being answered. These are the other adverbs which we can use while answering the questions of when. Now, next category. So, the next category of adverbs are the ones which answer the questions of where. Let us see a few examples. The adverbs are away, everywhere, here, there, inside. These are only a few examples. Now, the examples in sentences, they will meet you there. So, the question, which word is answering the question of where? There. Where will they meet you? They will meet you there. Then, where do flowers bloom in spring? The second sentence. The adverb answering the question is everywhere. Alright? So, the second category is where. Now, next. The third category of adverbs are the ones which answer the questions of how something is done, how did that happen, etc. So the adverbs which answer the question of how could be easily, happily, loudly, quickly, quietly. All right. And now these is one of the sentence examples of this adverbs. How do we use them in sentences? He slipped away. How did he slip away? He quietly slipped away. So the word answering the question of how is quietly. So the adverb is quietly here. Another, how does she write? How does she work? She works fast. So the word which is answering the question of how is fast. Okay, this was the third category. Now, another category is the adverbs answering the questions of to what extent. To what extent मतलब किस limit तक, किस extent तक, किस हद तक, enough, extremely, quiet, too, very. These are a few adverbs which answer the questions of to what extent. Now, if we use them in sentences, she almost finished the work. To what extent has she finished the work? She has almost finished the work. So which word is answering the question of to what extent? Almost. So almost becomes the adverb. Then they were completely surprised by the windfall. To what extent were they surprised by the windfall? Completely. So the word which answers the question of to what extent is completely. So this is the fourth category. Now next. This is the fifth category of adverbs, telling us how often does something happen. Frequency. You see here, okay. So now this is the chart that I have made so that you can understand how often how often adverbs chart. These are all adverbs, all of these. पर एक टाइमलाइन बना दी है, एक वो बना दी है कि जैसे अगर how often, if there is something that happens never, which means जो 0%, जो कभी भी नहीं होता, then that is never. Something that happens about 5% of the time, मतलब बहुत ही rare chances है होने के, तो hardly ever. 10% मतलब seldom, थोड़ा बहुत हो जाता है, occasionally. Then अगर 50% times होता है, 50% times नहीं होता है, तो sometimes. फिर 50% से ज़्यादा बार होता है अगर, तो often, ये मतलब ज़्यादातर यही होता है. And normally 80% times जब से यही चीज़ होती है तो हम उसे normal situation कहते हैं कि normally this happens. And 90% जब most of the times मतलब कुछ हो रहा है तो usually. And if something happens 100% of the times, then that is always. Okay, so this is the adverbs chart. You can use, अब आप adverbs से आपको एक और advantage मिल गई. Now you know the different kind of adverbs so that you can use them. आप इनको अब use कर सकते हैं जब आपको बताना है कि कितने often कुछ चीज होती है. जैसे आपको पता है often कब use करना है and seldom कब use करना है, sometimes कब use करना है. Okay, so you should add this to your vocabulary. Now we will see the examples. I always wake up at 6 o'clock. Always wake up at 6 o'clock means I wake up at 6 o'clock 100% of the times. मतलब मैं रोज सुबह 6 o'clock उठती हूँ. Then I think there is a mistake here. This is this is A, but this should be an O. I'm sorry for the spelling error. Then I usually come home from work. Usually मतलब 90% of the time. Usually I come home from work. Maybe rare chances में like 5-10% of the times work के बाद कहीं और चले गए. But 90% of the time come home from work. I usually come home from work. So कौन सा words हैं जो आंसर कर रहे हैं questions of how often? Always and usually. So ये हैं हमारे adverbs. Okay. So now let's move on. This was the fifth category. We have done 5 categories. Now I have a few adverbs so that to make you understand कि कैसे sentences में use होते हैं. Okay. There's this verb adverb arrogantly, जिसका मतलब होता है cheekily, insolently, मतलब थोड़ा सा rude behavior में, थोड़ा proudy behavior में. Example क्या हुआ? He entered the class arrogantly. Okay, ये इसका example है. When we use it in a sentence, it can be used like this. जिसने बहुत cheekily class में enter किया. Nobody likes arrogant people though. We should not be arrogant. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. So here the adverb is rapidly. Rapidly का मतलब होता है Quickly, fast, swiftly, quickly, speedily. Rapidly कौन से question को answer कर रहा है? Think about it. It is answering the question of how. Okay. And the examples are, she glanced rapidly in the room. ने quickly room के अंदर देखा, जल्दी से देखा. In 2018, production in the factory fell rapidly. 2018 में जो फैक्ट्री की प्रोडक्शन थी वो बहुत जल्दी गिर गई. कैसे गिर गई? जल्दी. She glanced rapidly. How did she glance across the room? She glanced rapidly. So आप देख रहे हो. I hope you are able to identify the adverbs by now. Now we'll move on to the next one.
So for this one we have the adverb of certainly. Now certainly means definitely, strictly. When you are absolutely sure about something, you say certainly. It could be used in sentences like, you certainly make a good looking footballer. It will certainly rain today. Okay. Now let's move on to the next example. We have the example of word often. Often means many times, frequently when something happens. We did this example in the adverbs. Which answer which question? Which answer the questions of how often, the frequency, how often something happens. Okay. So then the meaning we've done. Examples, she often reads a book. The verb, which word answers the question of how often? Often here. I often suffer from headaches. Okay. And the next example. So here the word is unexpectedly. The meaning is unaware, unbeknown. जब कुछ ऐसा होता है जो आपने सोचा नहीं होता है, जो अचानक से हो जाता है. We say this happened unexpectedly. How? It answers the question of how. So it is an adverb which answers the question of how. He left the school. How? Unexpectedly. The light came on. How? Unexpectedly. See? So both of them answer the question of how. Both of them are adverbs. Now, here we have the word specially. Specially means particularly, something which is in particular, exclusively. Let me give you an example. The government should take steps specially for global warming. Now this sentence means that the government needs to take steps for many things, but specially, मतलब special importance देनी है for global warming. Then another sentence, I especially like to go on vacation in summer. मतलब मेरे को वेकेशन पे जाना तो पसंद है, पर particularly, पर exclusively summer में तो बहुत ही पसंद है. तो especially like to go on vacation in summer. Right? So ये another adverb, exclusively. So this is another adverb which is officially. This answers the question of again how.
and it means formally, on the record. Example sentences are the world war was officially over. मतलब जब पेपर पे जब फॉर्मली दोनों सारी कंट्रीज ने मिलके बोल दिया कि हाँ अब फॉर्मली खत्म हो गई, अब हमने ट्रीटी साइन कर दी है, अब ऑफिशियली ओवर है. Then the winner will be officially announced tomorrow. Officially मतलब जब properly through authorities जब result आएगा, then the winner will be announced. Okay, so the question of how officially answers the question of how in these sentences. Now next. Alright, so for the quiz what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two, three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points, because there is no negative marking in IEO, so it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Okay, so we now move towards the questions, and here it says, this category says, choose the correct adverb from the given options. So what do we have to do here? We have to answer as per the sentence. The sentence is here, we have a blank, and whatever adverb from the following option fits in the blank correctly, we have to choose that. Okay, pretty simple. Let's start. We are standing dash his house waiting for him. So dash is house. So what does this first tell you? What sort of adverb is this? This is answering which question? This is answering the question of where. So this is an adverb of place. So where are we standing waiting for him? Either A, outside, B, down, C, about, or D, away. The answer, adverb answering where is outside. Alright? Okay, now here, I dash play badminton with my sister. The options are I today play, B, I soon play, C, I often play, or D, I much play. Now here, the correct answer is C, often. This is talking about what? This is talking about frequency. Like how often does one play? Or does this person play badminton with his sister? This is the answering the question of how often. Adverb of frequency. Alright. Okay, next. She has dash completed her degree course. A, just completed, B, often completed, C, daily completed, or D, seldom completed. Okay, now here the correct answer is A, just completed. Answering the question of which adverb? Answering the question of when. When has she completed? She has just completed. Alright, now you see the other ones. Often, daily, frequency. They are the adverbs of often, daily, seldom. These are the adverbs of frequency. They are answering the question of how often. But here we are answering when. So for when, the correct answer is A. She has just completed. Alright. Alright, so the next question says, Shivani is happy, she smiles dash. The options we have are A. Happier, B. Happiest, C. Happily, or D. Happy. Now here the adverb is C. Happily. This means in a happy manner. So it's the adverb of manner. Answers the question of how. Now if you look at the other words, like here happy, this is the positive adjective. Happier is the comparative adjective and happiest is the superlative adjective. Alright, so here the correct answer is C. Happily. Alright, here the next question says, Jim is a wonderful pianist. He plays the piano dash. A. Wonderfully, B. More wonderful, C. Most wonderful, or D. Wonderful. Now here we are answering the question of how, the adverb. And the answer here is A. Wonderfully. Now this was a hint that, I'll tell you this hint, that most of the adverbs which answer the question of how, which means the adverbs of manner, mostly, okay, mostly, they end in ly. Okay, this is just a trick to remember, but आपको ऐसे you shouldn't take shortcuts, but यहाँ पे आपको concept से समझ के answer करना चाहिए. Here the answer is wonderfully, and the other words, पिछले क्वेश्चन की तरह, all the other words they are adjectives. More wonderful comparative degree में, C most wonderful superlative degree adjective, D wonderful positive degree adjective. So all of these are adjectives. Adverb यहाँ पे था ही हमारे पास एक. Okay? Okay, now here the options are, okay, the question, let's see the sentence first. Sudha is a good dancer. She dances really dash. A good, B better, C best, or D well. Here the correct answer is D well. Sudha is a good dancer. She dances really well. Alright. Now the other words again. All of these are adjectives. Good is positive. B is comparative degree. C is superlative degree. And here the answer is well. This is an adverb of manner, which answers the question of how. Okay. How does Sudha dance? Sudha dances really well. Now here, we dash go to sleep by 10 p.m. A, we regular go to sleep by 10 p.m. We normal go to sleep. C, we usual go to sleep. Or D, we generally go to sleep by 10 p.m. Here the correct answer is D, generally. Okay, generally matlab कि normally usual circumstances में यही होता है almost every day. Okay, this is answering the question of what? Answering the question of how often, which is the adverb of what? Frequency. Okay, because it is answering question like how often do you go to sleep by 10 p.m. We generally go to sleep by 10 p.m. मतलब ज़्यादातर and on most days. Okay. Okay, now here, it is good to exercise. A, highly, B, most heavily, C, regularly, or D, quick. Here the correct answer is, it is good to exercise. C, regularly. Matlab every day it is good to exercise. It is answering the question of frequency. Alright. This A, highly, is answering the question of manner. Most heavily, again answering the question of how. Manner. D, quick, again how. Manner. Right, we're answering frequency. So C, regularly, how often. Alright, so here we have a paragraph. Complete the given paragraph with suitable adverbs. Let's see. It is dash said that if we do not take pains, we gain nothing. Okay. Now here the options are A. Cleverly, B. Hardly, C. Heavily, D. Rightly. The correct answer here is rightly. It is rightly said. मतलब, it has been said as a truth and it is ये सही ही कहा है किसी ने that if we do not take pain we gain nothing. The correct answer is D. Rightly. Adverb of manner. How? Next blank. Dash life without work is meaningless. Okay. Surely life without work is meaningless. B. Hardly life without work is meaningless. C. Almost life without work is meaningless. Or D. Only life without work is meaningless. Here the correct answer is surely. Which means it is right that life without work is meaningless. Right? So the answer is surely. Here, those who sit dash or look for outside help invite dash their ruin. Those who sit dash or look for outside help. So those who sit rarely, those who sit hardly, those who sit boldly, or those who sit idly. Now here which one fits? Adverb of manner, idly. मतलब जो लोग खाली बैठते हैं. Those who sit idle. It comes from the adjective idle, which means khali baithna, right? So here, those who sit idly or look for outside help invite dash their ruin. A. Wisely, B. Idly, C. Definitely, or D. Gladly. The answer here is C. Definitely, which means they definitely invite their ruin. Those who sit idly, जो खाली बैठते हैं और when they look for outside help, they invite their own trouble. Okay, definitely. मतलब पक्का से that's for sure. Wisely comes from the adjective wise, which means being smart. Gladly comes from the adjective glad, which means to be happy. Okay. Okay, the next one says, the sun, the moon, and other heavenly bodies dash work. A. Hardly work, B. Quickly work, C. Almost work, or D. Continuously work. Here the correct answer is continuously, which means continuously means without stopping. Okay, so these heavenly bodies, sun, moon, and other heavenly bodies, they continuously work. Adverb of manner, telling us how. Okay, other options, hardly, which means not much. B. Quickly means very fast, in a fast manner. C. Almost. This is the adverb of this is just answering the question of to what extent something has been done. Almost. Okay. Here, dash, it is easy, sorry, it is clear that work is a must for our life. Secondly, it is clear. B. Wisely, it is clear. C. Undoubtedly, it is clear. Or D. Justly, it is clear. Here the answer is undoubtedly. Undoubtedly means without any doubt, without any without any vagueness or any ambiguity, it is clear. The other options, A. Secondly, which means something that comes second. B. Wisely means in a wise manner. Justly means in a fair manner. All right. Dash say you cannot take pains. Always say you cannot take pains. Often say you cannot take pains. C. Seldom say you cannot take pains. Or D. Never say you cannot take pains. Here it's like a lesson. It's like an ending. So here it is. Never say you cannot take pains. Answering the question of how often, answering the question of frequency. So the other ones you see, always, often, seldom, even all of these are adverbs of frequency, answering the questions of how often. Here they were dash very friendly. They were justly very friendly. They were before very friendly. They were always very friendly. They were yet very friendly. Here the answer is C. Always. They were always very friendly. Okay. Always very friendly. This means all the time. Answering the question of how often, adverb of frequency. All right. The mother dash laid the sleeping baby in the cradle. A. Gently, B. Honestly, C. Frankly, or D. Hardly. The correct answer is A. Gently. Gently. Now all these words, they are the adverb of manner, and answering the question of how. Gently means in a soft and simple, sweet manner. Honestly, saying something with complete truth. C. Frankly, saying something in an informal manner. D. Hardly. Hardly is the adverb of frequency. This one tells us something that happens rarely. Alright. So with this we come to an end with our questions of adverbs.
That's all for our class in adverbs. I hope you have understood the various categories, when is or which category used. All this is very important so that you don't make any mistake. Alright. So that's all for this class. I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.